Okay. Okay. In this video, we are going to load the real data from the website. Okay. So already we know the Swagger. From the Swagger, go to the Swagger, and there is a employees here. So click here and execute it. You are going to get this URL. Copy this URL. Okay. Now we want to load this data to our website. So go here, and if you want to load any data from other page, we have one fetch method. So we are going to write a another function, write one function load employees, something like this, load employees. So this load employees, what they will do, we are going to write the, from this URL, we are going to load the data. If you want to load the data, what is the method we should use? It fetch method. Okay. So inside the fetch method, what is the URL we want to give it? We have copied it already. So I am going to copy like this. So this is a fetch method. So once we are doing this, fetch will return a promise. Once you are writing a promise, we will write a then. So this then is to load the data. Okay. So this is the response. We want to convert this response into JSON format. That is the reason we are converting like a response.json. Again, this then also, this is also will return a new promise. So again, we need to subscribe that promise also. That is the reason again I am writing a another than keyword. Okay. Here you are going to get this real data. And here once we are getting the data, and let us try to print in the console. Once you print in the console, let us see it in the output. So right click, inspect here, and let us see in the console. Okay. Again, I'm going to reload the data. Is there any network calls here? Let us go to network calls. Is there any network calls with the employees? No. Okay. The problem here is you have written a function. You never called it. If you never called it, will you load any data? No data. Okay. That is the problem here. Do you know how to call this function? Very simple. Simply write like this, employees. Okay. Load employees. You are calling this function. This function will call the data from the website, and we are calling right a then. It will written a promise. Again, we are writing it this then, and we are writing our data to the console. File save all. Let us see here. There is employees call is going event right. And if you see your console, see how many data is available. 9 objects is there. Okay, 9 objects is there, and we are seeing all the data. Now we are able to see the data in the console, right? So that means from the website, the data comes to our component. Now the only remaining part is I want to assign this data to a variable, and that should iterate and print it. Okay, let us try to iterate it. So where is the data is available inside the data? I want to assign this data to the employees. Let us assign it here. How to assign it? Employees is equal to data. Let us see. So now what we are trying to do, we are trying to load the data, and the data we are assigning into one variable. And what is that variable name? Constant. Can you change any constant variable name? No. So let us go with the let keyword. So now let us see let. So I'm going to reload the data. Is there any difference now? Let also, because you are assigning some data to your employees. React will never know about you are adding your data. Correct, right? Whenever you want to see any dynamic data, we have to go for one technique. What technique? State, use state. Correct, right? Now we have to convert this let into use state. You understand, right? Without use state, your data will be there. This will not reload your data. Okay, that is the problem. So that is the reason we have to go for what? Use state. So let us remove this one or comment out. I am going to go for a constant. Okay, employees and comma set employees. And what is the data type? It is a array. That is a given. I am giving a array. So by default is a empty array. Okay, and import the use state. Okay. Now once I get the data, where I need to set it here, I need to say I should not set it like this. Set employees. Okay, here there is a major problem is there, and this is an interview question also and tricky also. Okay, so here I will explain it here. We are calling this set employee, and first time I am loading this data, and whenever I am loading the data, which function will be calling? This function will be calling, and it will load the data, right? Whenever it is loading the data, what we are trying to do here, we are setting the data. Whenever your state variable, any changes in the state variable, what will happen? Again, it will execute from the top to bottom. clear, right? Whenever again second time it is executing, again you are calling this function. Again it will reload the data. Again your state variable will change. This process will never end. Okay. For demo purpose, I will show it. And this is the mistake they have done in the previous batch. Let us see. It will never stop. You can go and check in the network. It will keep on going only 300 times, 400 times, 500 times. It will never stop. Sometimes what will happen is your server will down because of this many requests. It cannot handle. It will down over there. Okay. This is because you understood, right? Whenever state variable is changes, automatically it will execute from top to bottom. Again you are loading your data. Again you are loading your data. So this is the problem. Okay. To solve this problem, we are going for one hook called useEffect. You see the problem, right? We don't want to load this many times. Hey React, load only one time. Don't load this many times. Okay. To solve this problem, we should not call this function. Okay. So I am going to have another hook. What is the hook this time? Use effect. Okay. Use effect. So inside the use effect, it is going to take a two arguments. This use effect is going to take a one ES6 function. Okay. I'm going to take like a ES6 function, and I'll take like this. Okay. And second is a one array. Second is a array. So this use effect is taking how many arguments? Only two functions. Check here, ma. First one is a ES6 function. How can I write a ES6 function? Empty bracket, open symbol, and close like this. And second one is like a array. This array is optional. If you want to write it, you write it. Otherwise, don't write it. For now, I am not going to write it empty. And this empty here, whatever the load employees you are having, right? Let us cut it here and add it here. Okay. So now which technique we are using it? Use effect. Okay. So let us save it here and see, is there any difference? Is there any difference? See again, still it's going. We are using use effect, still it's going. Okay. So by default, what is the behavior is, if you are not giving any second argument, it will work like a normal only. It will execute always. Now we don't want always. Hey React, execute only one time. I am passing second argument. Okay. Whenever you are passing this empty array, this time it will execute only one time, not multiple times. I am going to save it and reload the page and clear it. You can check it here. Okay. See, reload the page. See here how many times it is executing. See, two times, but that is okay because there is a state variable. That is okay. But here it is not, continuous calls are not going, right. So to solve this continuous calls, what is the effect we are using it? Use effect. Okay. So whenever you want to perform any side effects means I want to load the data from backend and I want to do some other thing. I want to download some data. This type of tasks are called side effects. So such a task you should call inside the use effect only. Okay. So you should not write it directly outside. If you are directly writing outside, that's all. Okay. It is going to call multiple times and there will be a problem. So that is the reason we are going for a use effect. Now our problem is solved, right? And you are able to see the dynamic data also. So suppose you want to create a new employee. Let us create a new employee in the Swagger and you can reload this page. Automatically it will come here. It is not a hard coded data. Okay. So like this, you can integrate with your backend. So, and what you want to do for practice, you can go for a company's page. Here there is a company's page is there. Again, you create a new page with the company's component and you try to display this download data. For Swagger, go to Swagger. There is a company controller is there. Company details controller. Click on get details. And this is your URL. And you write a fetch method and automatically you are going to get the data. So this one we can practice it tomorrow, or you try to do yourself for practice. Okay. Like, so now I'll go to login page. By default, I am logged in. I'll click on employees. So my data is going on. See here, after like 1 second only the data is displaying. Meanwhile, I want to load my loader. Before, whenever the data is not there, I want to display the loader. Now you understood, right? Okay. If you want to integrate the loader, let us try to integrate it here. By default, I don't want to show any loader. Okay. Or let us show the loader. Once we fetch the data, we want to stop the loader. So first, if you want to show the loader, we have to write one loader, right? Loader, we'll say loading. We'll say loading. So by default, we want to set loading. So whenever we comes to page, we will show loading. But when we will stop it, once we get the data, we will stop it. I will say set loading is equal to false. Where I'm calling inside the set load employees inside the last wherever it is there. That means whenever we are loading, we'll load it. Okay. Now I want to show, whenever it is loading, I want to show one loader. How can I show it? If loading is there, I can show a loader component, something like this. I can write it div loading, loading, loading. I don't want to this. Already we have one component, specific component, right? What is my component name? Loader, something like this. Let us import it. Let us import it. So what is the problem? It is not able to import the quick fix and import it. So is there any spelling mistake? Or I can copy the loader from our header also, since already we have used this loader. Okay. I'll copy this header and add it here. Okay. Loader. Okay. Now it is. Now let us have a real demo. Let us go here. See here. First I'll log out. So it is. So here I'm going to log in again. I'm going to have a login page. Click on employees. So there is a loader is coming, right, and it is turned off by default also. We no need to do anything. Suppose for reload it, it is coming in a flash, and we no need to write like a set timeout, all this thing. Automatically, once we get the data, loader will stop. Whenever there is a loading the data, automatically loader will come. So here you can, we have added this loader also here dynamically. Okay. But this time what I want to do, I want to show my loading employees. I want to change my data to the loading employees. By default, what is the message it is coming here? Loading. I don't want to comment as a loading. Whenever I want to show loading companies, I want to have a loading companies. Here I want to show a loading employees. For this reason, here I'm going to remove this data, and we can write one component. Yesterday we have like previously we have done, right, props dot children. Okay. Now we want to show the dynamic data. So here we can use a props dot children. Whenever you are using props dot children, you can remove this one and you can write like a close bracket, because here you can say loading employees emps dot dot dot. Okay. And in the next page, we'll go to our header page. We will say loading login data. Instead of writing like this, we will say loading login data. So this process is called a containment. Same loading component only. One time on one message, another place another message. File, save all, and you can see it here. I will click on login, loading login. I will click on employee. So in the flash it is coming. That is the reason you are not able to see it. Okay. So you can apply. So now in this concept, we have applied our if condition. Okay. And we have used our this state variables, and we have used our fetch, and all the things we are combining. Okay. So this is about the only important point about here is you have to write a one method. What is the method? You should use it a map function. Map function will take a two arguments. This first name you can write any name, no problem. Okay. And second, you can write a index, and you can write a open bracket, open and close. And sometimes you will forget about this return. Please don't forget about this return. You have to write a return, and you write a whatever the HTML code you want to write it, you write it over there. Okay. And automatically it will iterate those many times. It will create dynamically for you guys. Okay. Yes.